given this video and asked to respond to it. So I'm gonna get just right into it. Let's bring it up.
All right, you guys.
Did you really come back with 2 separate checks?
Yeah, that's what I was asked to do.
You're really gonna make me pay?
You gonna get some ass?
No.
Well, anyways, man, here go the 2. She's not gonna give you what? No ass. That's crazy.
Man.
Wait.
Are you?
I'm gonna pay the 15. At least show a kneecap.
Fuck you.
See, that's your problem. You don't want to. That's your problem.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Seriously, listen. It is rough out there in the dating market for women and for men. But let me just say, I don't understand how I continue to see women getting themselves in the scenario where they are like so surprised that they have to pay. I mean, okay, these are just my thoughts. Honestly, high key, I feel like men today have this like sixth sense for women that they consider modern women, gold diggers. There's some they don't think are worth it. And nowadays, I think men who have already decided this woman isn't worth it, like they're just being a lot more bold and blatant. They're not messing around trying to do the whole chivalry thing. They don't care. Like if they have already decided in their mind, you're a modern woman or you're just not worth anything past the hit and quit it, then it doesn't seem like they're beating around the bush about it anymore. Like seriously, I don't understand this. Like I never was in a scenario. I was never on a date with a guy where he was like, no, you're paying half. That never happened to me. Never. I honestly can't identify with this, but I would be curious to hear your guys' thoughts. So let me know if I'm missing something. But let's continue on this.
You don't want to.
Yeah. He's really making me pay, you guys.
Hey, how you get home?
You're fucking taking me home. You're taking me home.
Disaster.
No.
Okay, I mean, you can't, like, oh God, this is a disaster. So, no, you can't force a guy to take you home. First off, honestly, for me, I would never just have a dude randomly, like, that I didn't know from Adam pick me up and take me home. Like I just personally didn't do that. I know that's like old school kind of chivalry to a certain extent, but I just didn't trust it. So usually, and I stand by this. First dates, please don't be having a dude try to take you out to this super expensive dinner on your first date. That you're just setting yourself up for failure. Here we have another example. She had an expectation dude was gonna pay for her, take her out, like whatever, and now she's being forced to pay. My thing is, if you are really serious about a relationship and you honestly respect the guy or respect men period, keep it simple like the first date. Here's where I think women, we have to now understand where men are coming from. Gone are the days of chivalry where there are clear gender roles, where men are expected to be providers and protectors, and also expected that they're going to be the head, and women are expected to be submissive and, you know, honoring the man, but also there's an expectation that she's going to be taken care of. Like those days are pretty much gone. Apart from maybe specific religious, you know, communities or religious beliefs, those gender roles in the general, you know, American culture just don't really exist anymore. So I think we now have to recognize men today, they're entering this space essentially trying to redefine or really trying to respond to what feminism has said that they want, saying that they want equality, saying they don't want to be treated as subservient, saying they don't want to be treated as, you know, second best. Men are essentially responding to that and are really starting to treat women as equals. And on top of that, if a man doesn't even think that she's worth it, for no uncertain terms, then like I said, she's not even beating around the bush. On top of that, I think women now need to understand we live in a post Me Too era, right? Where men could be canceled, their careers could be essentially like obliterated, tarnished if they have, you know, false accusations of abuse. Now I know the whole Johnny Depp Amber Heard scenario kind of set perhaps a certain precedent, so maybe we're starting to see more of a pushback, but at the end of the day, there's still a lot of men who look at relationships now Or they're approaching it as if there's risk involved. They're approaching it as if like, hey, if I approach a woman and she doesn't like me, she could cry abuse. She could cry rape. She could say that I was sexually harassing her. These are the things that men are thinking now. So it's like the dating market right now is so much more complicated than it was before. These gender roles don't even really exist. Now there's also more risks associated with men when they're going out with women. Combine that with the fact that there's still somehow this expectation that men are supposed to pay and be traditional while women are afforded the freedom of choosing between traditional or modern. And like I said, at the end of the day, a lot of guys are looking at this and being like, this is a bad deal. This is a bad deal. And so what you have is some men opting out, some men deciding that they don't even want to marry at all. They're just simply going to kind of, hit it and quit it. Some guys going, MGTOW monk, some guys going SYSBM, but there's a lot of guys who are essentially looking at the dating market and not even taking it seriously. And if they in their mind have determined that you are a modern woman, they in essence will say, no deal. This is what I think this guy is at. I think this guy has already come into the situation that like, these women aren't worth it, or this woman isn't worth it. I mean, first off, if you just look at his appearance alone, he has that like Bugs Bunny t-shirt on. It doesn't look like he even shaved or even combed his hair. Like, he is presenting himself like, I rolled out of bed and I do not care. So like, his appearance alone to me is showing me that he's not looking at the state as somebody to take seriously. So, ladies, even look at those kind of indications. Like, if the guy is coming off scruffy, like if he's not even presenting himself in a way that seems like basic or decent or respectable, that's already an indication that he may not be that interested. So let's continue.
He's really making me pay, you guys.
Hey, how you get home?
You're fucking taking me home. You're taking me home. No. You're taking me home.
You want to give that to...
She doesn't have power in this scenario. And here you hear her grasping for straws. Like, oh, you're taking me home. You're taking me home. Based upon what? Based upon what? Like, you don't have power in the scenario. Now, listen, I mean, this is incredibly embarrassing. Like I said, this guy seems like he's not respectful. He has not presented himself in a way that shows that he even cares whatsoever about this woman or finds her worthy of anything other than just hit it and quit it, quite honestly. But what's interesting again is her response and her expectation that he was supposed to do this. Like, he was obligated to do this. And unfortunately, like I said, today, the dating market, the dating expectations have just quite honestly changed. And again, unless you are perhaps a part of a very specific religious community or a specific social community where there are still clear guidelines, there are still more traditional guidelines or gender roles that exist. Apart from that, if you're just kind of out according to, today's cultural standards and today's worldly standards, this is where we're at, ladies. And this is actually what we asked for. That's the cool part. So she doesn't have power in this scenario. She really doesn't. And if she's a woman that has a problem with submission, okay, this is what you can expect. Now, if you're a woman that is maybe more comfortable with you're comfortable with more traditional gender roles and you are okay with like headship and submission and men and women not necessarily being equal and having different functions, both of them valuable but distinctive, if you're okay with that, then okay, maybe you can be in a scenario where you should expect more traditional values. You should expect more traditional behavior from the guy who's courting you or for the guy who may be taking you out. But apart from that, if you're doing this whole modern woman thing, this is probably what you're going to see more of and probably what you can expect. Why? Because this is what women have asked for. They've asked for equality. They've asked for a 50-50 setup. And now we're seeing that it's not always so pretty. Let's continue.
Guys, he's making me pay for my food because I won't have sex with him. That's a sad shame. Look at this man. Don't ever go out with him. Don't give him your number. Just fucking run.
Okay, so now, what do they call it? The dinner whores or whatever. Now the women who go around trying to use men just for dinner, now it's starting to actually backfire. I never, ever, ever recommend that a woman go out with a guy that she has no intention of being serious with. Like, if you know off the gate on phone conversation, talking to him, that you have no intention of taking him seriously, don't be using him for money. That's bad. And unfortunately, now it's backfiring. Now it is backfiring. So here's what I always recommend for people who are actively in the dating market, getting to know somebody, and you want to be serious. Like I said, keep it simple the first couple of dates. Seriously, keep it simple. Don't let there be an expectation that he has to spend all this money, even go out to dinner. Maybe meet for coffee. Maybe meet for coffee first. Or maybe, go for ice cream. Something super low key. Meet during the day at a park somewhere or at an event where there's going to be a whole lot of other people. Like, keep it simple and keep it safe. And then maybe once you guys have had a couple of times to engage, maybe you had a couple of few chill dates or something like that, then maybe now you can progress into dinner and see, okay, is this something serious? And by then you probably will have had a sense to actually figure out, is this person even somebody I could see myself being with? What are the dynamics? How do we operate? So I think if you keep the first couple of dates or first couple of interactions really simple, really low expectation, then that can already help to eliminate this transactional relationship or this transactional dynamic we see going on. That's how I would do it. And like I said, I say this as somebody who to a certain extent, I can look back on my dating history now and say, okay, there are certain things that I did wrong. There are certain times where I didn't really understand where the man is coming from. But now looking back and understanding what a lot of men are going through, and also understanding that the way that you present yourself as a woman does have a lot to do with how you're going to be treated. That's how I would handle it if I was still out there. So anyways, those are my thoughts. That's my opinion. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know what you think. Leave your questions, comments, concerns in the comment section below. Thank you so much for listening if you've gotten this far, and we'll talk later. Bye.